Hello, and welcome to this nutrition lesson about fruits and vegetables. My name is Marlene Beachy, and I'm glad that you're watching this. The other two lessons that we've looked at the 5 different food groups on my plate, and then we've also talked about food labeling. And today we're going to move specifically into fruits and vegetables and talk a little more about how to incorporate those into our diet, why they're good for us to eat, how to store them. So, as we think about, however, eating from all of the food groups, the one thing that I want us to remember is that each food group is important. Each one supplies different kinds of nutrients, but there are 6 categories of nutrients that we are going for. It's fiber and fat, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, and proteins. And we get all 6 of those when we eat all 5 food groups. Many food groups overlap in what they provide, and so you can kind of mix and match a little bit, but in general, we need all of those nutrients, and we need to eat a wide variety of food every day from every food group in moderation, focusing on vegetables and whole plant foods. So let's begin by thinking about how do we choose what to eat in these food groups. Think rainbow. A rainbow has all of these colors, and the more colors we can eat of foods, the more wider variety of nutrients we get, because each color is a different kind of nutrient. And fruits and vegetables are the most colorful group in the whole food plate. So think color. Think red and green and purple and orange and yellow. And as we eat all of those colors, fruits and vegetables offer some very specific health benefits for us in a stronger way than maybe the other food groups do. And these health benefits are, they help to improve our memory, they support healthy hearts and eyes and bones and teeth, they lower the risk for some cancers, and they boost our immune system. So let's think about some ways to incorporate fruits and vegetables into our diets every day. So one thing that helps me, which I hope would also help you, is to look at the habits that we have. And for me, I have a habit of having the same breakfast every morning. It has a lot of advantages in that when I get up, I don't have to decide what I'm eating. And at the end of the day, I know what I had for breakfast without having to try to remember, because it's a habit of what I always eat. And for breakfast, I always have at least one piece of fruit. Usually it's a banana. And then for lunch and dinners, I have the habit of serving at least one fruit and 2 vegetables for lunch, and 1 fruit and 2 vegetables for dinner, both meals. And of those, I try to make 1 vegetable raw, if at all possible, because raw vegetables and fruits give us enzymes that help with digestion that we don't get near as much of or at all when we eat only cooked food. So as much as you can, increase your fruits and vegetables in your diet, especially your vegetables. And what we're aiming for each day is 2 cups of fruit and 3 cups of vegetables. So kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking, well, how much should I eat? 2 cups of fruit and 3 cups of vegetables. Another easy way to add in vegetables in particular into your diet, because I think that's the hardest. It's pretty easy to grab a piece of fruit. It's much harder to grab a vegetable. So another easy way is if you are cooking, for example, pasta, and you have your spaghetti sauce, your pasta sauce, just add in some frozen vegetables or a couple of handfuls of fresh spinach, chop it up and throw it in and just cook it until it wilts down and gets kind of limp and easier to eat. That's a really easy way to add in some vegetables into your meal when maybe you're not used to eating vegetables and still maintain that pasta sauce and pasta flavor. Another idea is to make it a part of your grocery shopping routine, that when you buy food at the grocery store and you bring it home, instead of putting the carrots and the celery into the refrigerator, put them into the sink. And before you leave the kitchen, go ahead and prepare those carrots and celery of how you can just grab them from the refrigerator to eat them. Put them in a Ziploc bag or a plastic container, and the next time you want a snack, they'll be ready for you to just grab and eat. Or if you need to grab something and you know you're not going to be back for a while and you know you're going to be hungry, you can grab some of those instead of being out and about and wondering, oh, I'm hungry. What would be easy? And then grab a bag of chips. You'd have those vegetables with you. You could just snack on those, you or your children or anyone else in your household. So thinking about that also, I'm sure you have ideas. Please post them on the Facebook page. I'd love for us to learn together. And as we think about fruits and vegetables and how we purchase them, we can purchase them raw or fresh and raw, or frozen and canned. And let's look a little bit at some advantages and disadvantages of each. If you choose fresh, raw vegetables to purchase those, buy in season, and particularly in here in Indiana, an easy way to do that would be to buy them at the local farmers market, or maybe from a roadside stand, or maybe from a neighbor that has some extras and they would like to sell them. You know you're probably getting the best price and the freshest possible, because anytime after a vegetable or a fruit has been picked until you eat it, that amount of time, if it hasn't been processed like frozen or canned, it is beginning to lose its nutritional value. So the quicker you can eat it from the time it's been picked, the more nutrition you will have in it. So when you think about buying a fruit or vegetable at the store, it has probably been transported from California or maybe Mexico or maybe South America somewhere. Look on the little sticker on, especially on fruits, and you can tell where they come from. And that would give you an idea of how long that transportation has been for them. So the longer that the vegetables are transported, the more nutrition that they lose. Fruits aren't quite as susceptible. They're just a little different in their makeup, and so they hold their nutritional value a little longer than vegetables would. Some stores, though, grocery stores, also sell local fruits and vegetables. And so if you can buy locally raised ones, then you know you're probably getting the most fresh. And I would encourage you to do the local buying. Probably they're the cheapest because they haven't had to add in the transportation cost into that also. So in thinking about, well, should I buy it fresh or frozen or canned, you can do cost comparison. You can think about the nutritional value, but also think about the taste. Because whether the vegetable or the fruit is fresh or frozen or canned, they can taste like completely different foods. Perhaps you've had a fresh peach, and you've had a canned peach, and you've had a frozen peach. And they all taste completely different, but they're all peaches, and they all count towards your daily amount or your daily goals of what you want to eat each day. Or think about peas. Maybe you've had fresh peas versus frozen peas versus canned peas. Very different flavors. So if you don't like a fruit or a vegetable in one form, try it in the other forms. You or your children may find that you love frozen peas, or you can't stand canned peas, or you love fresh peaches but you can't stand frozen peaches, whatever. Just try to vary that. The other thing to know, though, and this is kind of a fun thing to know, is that you can change your tastes. What you originally, maybe when you first taste something, you think, oh, I don't like this at all. The more often you eat it, the more your taste can begin to change, and you can actually begin to like something. In general, it takes about 10 times of eating something before your palate will change from not liking something to liking something. So just keep that in mind as you're trying to expand your variety of fruits and vegetables that you're eating. If you're running into a lot that you don't like, just try continuing to eat a little bit every couple days or so, and eventually your palate will change. You will begin to like those. The other thing to think about when you're buying fruits and vegetables and the form that you're going to buy them in is shelf life. If you buy a raw or fresh fruit or vegetable, the shelf life will not be near as long as if it's frozen or canned. So if a store is offering a sale on frozen or canned fruits or vegetables, you might want to buy in bulk and then store them at home, because and draw on them as needed. The other advantage of frozen and canned that I really love is there's no prep. You just open the bag or open the can or the container, and it's ready to eat or ready to cook and serve and eat. It's really an easy way to add in vegetables and fruits into your diet, especially vegetables. Almost all vegetables take some kind of preparation before you can eat them, and frozen vegetables are probably my favorite, so I would favor those over canned for a couple of other reasons also. And that is because in the process of canning, there are chemicals that are leached into that canned food from the can, whereas in the frozen, they're in the bag. The bag does leach some chemicals into it. Anytime you have extreme temperature changes with plastic, it will leach into the food, but the can also leaches into the food. So you're getting some leaching of chemicals that aren't particularly good for your body with frozen and with canned vegetables and fruits, but it's better than not eating them at all. And they all count towards your daily intake. The other thing to watch for if you buy frozen or canned fruits and vegetables is, has the manufacturer added salt or sugar? And for that, you need to read the label. That's the only way you can know. You can't go by what they've said on the outside of the package. So look for fat or sugar or salt. Has the manufacturer added any of those three? And if so, maybe look for a different brand or maybe a different offering. Maybe they have a low sodium or a no salt or a no sugar offering. So let's look a little bit at 2 cups of fruit and 3 cups of vegetables. I want to show you some proportions to kind of give you an idea. Here's a 1 cup measuring cup, and here's a normal sized apple pretty much. And as you can see, 1 apple is about 1 cup of fruit. So in general, you can consider 1 piece of whole fruit equal to 1 cup. So if you're going for 2 cups of fruit a day, 2 apples meets your fruit goal, or maybe an apple and a banana, or an apple and an orange. I also want to show you some carrots. So I chopped a bunch of carrots and made 1 cup of carrots. Here's 1 cup of carrots. And I weighed how much these carrots are. And then I chose 2 whole carrots of the same weight to kind of give you a visual idea of how much 2 whole carrots would be. So here's 2 whole carrots that weighs the same as this 1 cup of chopped carrots. So here's 1 cup of vegetables, and here is 1 cup of vegetables, just to kind of give you an idea of how much you need to eat. I also want to show you 1 cup of chopped carrots on a plate to kind of give you an idea of how much it would fill a plate. So here is 1 cup of carrots on the plate. I'll scoot it over a little bit, see if we can make it like half the plate like my plate. And I'm going to add the apple. So here we have a fruit and vegetable, and you can kind of see it takes up about a half a plate. So we're going for 3 cups of vegetables and 2 cups of fruit. And of the 3 cups of vegetables, maybe you could do 1 at lunch and 1 at supper and 1 for a snack, or any combination. You can vary the amounts. You can move some of this into your breakfast. This is only 1 cup. You need 2 more cups. Just to give you an idea, it's a lot of vegetables. So maybe the challenge for you this week could be to increase your vegetable intake. Let's talk a little bit about storage of fruits and vegetables when you bring them home. In general, especially your leafy greens, need to be stored in the refrigerator in a plastic bag or container. This will keep your fruits or vegetables the freshest, the longest. If your refrigerator space is limited, and when you first come home with your grocery shopping, you don't have enough refrigerator space, you can more easily store fruits without refrigeration than vegetables. There are some vegetables that, however, store well without refrigeration, and take your cue from the grocer. What fruits and vegetables do they not have in the refrigerated section or the cooler section? Those you can store on the counter much easier than the ones that they have in the cooler. If you're going to use a fruit or a vegetable within a day or 2, you probably don't need to store it in the refrigerator, unless it's very ripe. So just know that storing in the refrigerator will slow down ripening time and will keep fruits and vegetables fresh longer. Here's a little tip, however. So sometimes when I buy lettuce or carrots, they're in the refrigerator long enough that by the time I get to eating them, they are wilted. And rather than throwing them out, I often find that I can soak them in a bowl of water, either overnight or maybe for a few hours in the refrigerator, and they will perk up again and get crisp and look fresh again. So just because a vegetable in particular is wilted, don't throw it out. Try soaking it in water. It takes several hours sometimes, so don't think it's just a 5-minute soak. Soak it maybe even overnight and see if it will perk up again. And that might be a way that you can salvage some vegetables that have been in there for a while. Okay, I think that wraps up what I wanted to cover today. And I hope that if you have questions or concerns or ideas or interests that you'll post them on the Facebook. And remember to eat a wide variety of food every day from every food group in moderation, focusing on vegetables and whole plant foods. Thank you for joining us today. And until we meet again, happy, healthy eating to you and all your loved ones.